My guest today is Carol Kivler, and Carol provides customized training workshops, motivational speeches, and international executive coaching. Her workshops and speeches are known for their intriguing learning environment and interactive exercises. She has conducted over 2,500 workshops in areas such as effective writing, presentation skills, interpersonal communications, embracing change, and leadership managerial skills. Further, she has coached over 600 international executives, and she has some impressive clients, everything from Johnson Controls, American Express Travel, the Federal Reserve, the New York Times Broadcasting Group, the New Jersey Transit. I mean, I could go on and on. So, Carol, we are just delighted that you are with us today.
Well, thank you, Gail. I'm delighted to be here.
So, since you do so much executive coaching, because 600 executives and international as well, that's quite an impressive record. So, what are the main benefits of executive coaching?
Well, the main benefits of executive coaching is to get into an opportunity where you get to work on the skill sets that you want to acquire. So it's very individualized. It's very you focused, and it's all about comparing how your own personal perspective of how you relate to others to the other person's perspective on how you relate to him or her.
And how receptive are executives to coaching? I mean, some of them are wide open, but some must go and say have a blockage there in terms of well, you can't tell me anything.
Interestingly enough, I would say 90% of the executives that I coach are absolutely delighted when they are provided this opportunity. And the reason why, Gail, it's more of a development opportunity than a punitive opportunity. I have coached very few executives that were not happy with the entire process, the coaching process, and the ability to impact their own professionalism based on the coaching experience.
That's great. That's fabulous. So
Yeah.
how often do you coach with them?
Well, it's usually once a month that I'm on the telephone with the international executives. Fortunately, I go to 5 countries in one day. If I'm coaching face-to-face, even face-to-face, it's anywhere between once a month or once every other week, depending on the needs of the executive.
You know, that brings up a great point. In terms of being a coach, what do you prefer? Do you prefer to work with them online or through Skype or on the phone as opposed to being in person, or do you prefer the in-person?
No, I actually enjoy the face-to-face coaching, especially if I'm coaching presentation skills. But I will tell you, personally, I prefer to be on the telephone and not on Skype, because when I'm coaching, I am taking copious notes the whole time I'm on the phone with them. So I'm constantly looking down. And if they want to Skype, I will be more than happy to do that with them. But once they see that I'm not really looking up every few minutes, they prefer the telephone as well.
Well, you know, you don't have to be on video to do Skype. You could be doing the calls on Skype just by phone. You don't have to actually use the video.
Have to use the video. Well, you know what? I've never done it that way, so I was unaware that I could do that.
Yeah, because I do a lot of calls on Skype that are, I have no clue who they are on the other end. But anyway, so you're saying that these people who are being coached, they think of it as a benefit. So how does working with an executive coach give the person the competitive edge over their colleagues?
Well, first of all, working with an executive coach shows that you believe that you have something else to learn. That's number one. So that it says that you are willing to invest in your professional growth by continuing to learn. And I often tell my coachees that road to success is always under construction, so we must always be investing in ourselves so we can be the best CEO of YOU that we could possibly be. And so it shows constant growth. It shows development. It shows that I'm willing to invest in myself. And many of the, believe it or not, Gail, I receive a number of coachees that are paying for their own
That
coaching.
was going to be my next question to you, was how many of them
Yeah.
pay themselves and how many are paid for by their company?
Okay. I would say 90% of my coaching clients, the company pays.
Interesting.
About 10% of coaching clients that come to me are willing to invest in themselves to invest in their career, especially when they want to jump to the next level and they recognize that they might be missing a competency that's needed to jump to the next level. But I just finished a coaching a husband and wife in high positions that both hired me. They hired me at the same time to coach them. Hmm.
But you're coaching them separately.
Oh yes, absolutely.
Yes.
It's always separate. Hmm.
Well, it's interesting because your top level executives usually talk about having a coach, and people are always surprised about that. And yet, I found that they have all different kinds of coaches. I mean, they might have someone who coaches them in their spiritual life, or they might have somebody who coaches them in their physical life, as well as someone who coaches them in their business life. And I would think it would be very interesting to understand the philosophy if someone was not getting coached by someone hired by the company, what that mindset needs to be able to say, I will do this for myself. I would think that a person who really wants to get to where they want to go and has a high self esteem factor would do that. And yet others do expect the company to pay for everything.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you find a difference in the mindset of
And
people, that are hired, that you are hired from the company or hire you themselves.
well, sometimes hiring the company when the company hires, the company might recognize from their performance evaluation that there's a gap in where they need them to be. So they might bring me in to just raise the elevation, or to close that gap. Um, so or they could be in a leadership program where they were nominated to go into this leadership program, and part of the leadership program is a coaching experience for them. So those executives, they're very much into the coaching practice. I'm telling you, I bet you, over the years, I've had probably less than 2%, or maybe even 1% of people that didn't benefit from the coaching. They
Oh, I have
they
no
just
doubt they benefit. I'm just thinking
Yeah.
the mindset of the person, what that's
Yeah.
like.
Well, I would have to say the mindset of the coaching. The mindset of the executive might be very, very low, 2% that do not take the coaching experience on as something for professional development. I will tell you, the people that hire me themselves, they are hungry to get further along, and so they
Oh,
don't
I'm
wait for
sure.
their company. They don't wait for their company to say, "Okay, we're going to provide you with an executive coach."
That's what I'm saying. In other words, those are the ones that have to me, it's a different mindset. They're saying, I'm going
Mm-hmm.
to do this no matter what. So I think that's
Exactly.
great. But I know you also do some kind of pre and post call forms. So what is the purpose of those?
Well, the purpose of the pre-call form, let's start with the post-call form, because the post-call form I introduce at the end of the first call. And what it does is it captures it. It may ask questions such as, what was the most important thing that you learned during the coaching? What are you going to work on between now and the next time that I call? So what they basically do is they're setting some action items. They're making some commitment. It also asks the question, what did we not get to that you wanted to cover today? All right. So I have something for them that I see what they've captured. I always compare it to what I've captured while I was on the phone with them. The pre-call form then asks, what are the things that you've accomplished since our last call? What did you want to accomplish but were unable to get to? What are you looking for from your coach today? So it actually prepares them for the coaching call and that allows me to prepare the kinds of information that I'm going to be passing forward in the call for the pre-call form.
And how long are these calls?
Oh, the calls are always 1 hour. The calls are 60 minutes, and they really drive the goal. They drive the conversation by letting me know, what do you need from your coach today, because I start from there first. And many times they'll talk to me about something that's occurred and they want to make sure that they handled it properly. Other times it's something that came up during their last call, but we didn't complete the conversation over the last call. But they drive the conversation of the call and the outcome, actually.
So if I was looking to hire an executive coach, how would I go about finding the right one? Because I would assume there are sometimes personality conflicts, or sometimes there's just not a match.
Yeah, well, yeah.
What do you do?
If you personally were going to look for an executive coach, the first thing I would do is go into your network and ask anyone that you know if they've ever worked with an executive coach. And how did they like the experience? If they don't know anybody, I'd ask them to go out to my other colleagues, and ask them to go out to the network. So I would go in with a recommendation. I wouldn't just go onto the internet and look up executive coaching.
Interesting.
That's personally what I wouldn't do. I would go to my network and find out who had worked with a coach. Now, I will tell you, when I go internally, many times, Gail, the company has a whole cabinet of coaches, and so they will let them interview 2 or 3 coaches. And then based on the interview, the executive will choose a coach.
Ah, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, that happens. The Federal Reserve does that, and so does Munich Re. Yes, they let them interview coaches. So they'll give them names of 3 coaches, and then we go in for a face-to-face interview.
Wow, interesting. Now, how did you get into coaching?
Well, I got into coaching sort of in the back door, actually. I went back to graduate school at the age of 46 to study for a master's degree in human resource education. And it was in that program that I studied coaching. I didn't even know what an executive coach was when I entered the program. But when I finished the program, I absolutely knew what it was. And I was very fortunate because I graduated at the top of my class, and my name was recommended to the New York Times Broadcasting Group, and that was my first coaching, executive coaching.
Wow, you couldn't get a better better first client or a better endorsement than that. That's fantastic.
Yeah, so it was wonderful, and from there, I was interviewed by the Federal Reserve Bank of New York, and then I went into other companies. So it was really through the back door, because I was really a trainer and a keynote speaker, not an executive coach, but the graduate program credentialed me and taught me how to coach.
So that brings me to a question.
Yeah.
What do you like better? Did you like speaking better, or training better, or now working as an executive coach? And do you still work in the other areas?
Yes, I do still work in the other areas. I am one who likes change, Gail. So I love the diversity of my practice because I enjoy the coaching very much, but I also enjoy stand-up. So I enjoy the platform of a large stage, and then I also enjoy the intimacy of training 4 or 5 people in a room. So I love the diversity. I would say today my practice is about 65% coaching. Because it has grown over the years, and I have so many coachees now that I'm not able to train in the training room as much. I now have a stable of trainers that will train with my material to my clients.
That's smart. That's very smart.
Mm-hmm.
And I
think
that's great, because that way you're you're replicating yourself, and you're getting an income from it, and you're not doing the work yourself. That is very, very smart.
Yeah. I can thank Marjorie Brody for that. She showed me that model.
Yeah, she's great. Marjorie's great. Well, Another thing that I